Hello, I'm Paul.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Ben.
And welcome to the Filmbusters podcast. The film show with no filters, no prisoners taken, loads of disagreements, but one hell of a love for cinema.
If you want to hear three friends ridiculing each other for an hour or so regarding their taste in films, then you have come to the right place.
In each episode, one of the team picks a film for us to discuss. It could be anything from a recent cinema release to an all-time classic.
So, strap in and get ready to get mad or get vindicated as we guide you through the murky world of being a film geek.
If you like what you hear, you can also find us on Twitter and Instagram using @FilmbustersPod. You can also find each of our individual accounts. I'm at Filmbusters Paul.
I'm at Filmbusters Adam.
And I'm at Filmbusters Ben.
If you want to use your eyes instead of your ears, you can also visit the website at filmbusterspod.co.uk.
And if busting makes you feel good, you can also support us at patreon.com/filmbusters for exclusive content.
Or shoot over and get some groovy merchandise at society6.com/filmbusters.
Alright, can we just get on with this now, please?
Filmbusters.
How are you, my boys?
All very well, sir. All well. And you?
I am absolutely fantastic. Adam?
It's a lovely Wednesday afternoon.
I thought you didn't like to place an episode in a time period.
I don't mind placing. I thought you guys don't like the time placing of it.
Well, you're the one who complained about it during Christmas, and now everyone's going to think it's Wednesday all the time.
It is Wednesday all the time, isn't it? That's what January is, isn't it? The whole of January is basically a Wednesday.
Well, I take offence. It's
Why?
my birthday month. I'm a January man. You mustn't diss
January.
January.
It's your birthday on Saturday, isn't it?
Aye.
What were you doing for your birthday?
Don't know. Big surprise coming.
Have you not planned anything yourself, though?
No, I don't know.
Okay. Oh, but you said
I don't plan my own birthday like some goddamn diva.
Well, no, you might say I want to at least watch this film on my birthday, or
No, I leave that in the hands of angels, mate.
Ben has planned something like a Sweet 16 MTV episode.
Yeah.
he's getting his car. He's getting a house key, probably.
Probably.
He might actually get a house key.
No, you boys are linking back to last week's episode, Sweet 16. That was from the same director.
We like to do a segue like that. It's very
American Psycho 2. Yeah.
We're all psychos here.
How's lockdown treating you both anyway? What are we in? Week 2 of this new lockdown?
It's okay, isn't it? It's what it is. It's a bit shit, but
Let's get on with it.
Get on with it. You boys don't even have a lockdown. You're both still going to work.
Yeah. I'm a key worker. Most people would think I'm a surgeon or something, but no.
I've got to be there to make sure Piers Morgan never go at Matt Hancock like he did this morning.
Oh yes, horrible.
I didn't even watch that video, mate, because I'm sure that Matt Hancock had said something
It'd
dickish.
make you very angry.
Yes. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with being afraid. That's a reference to Halloween 5 that just came to my head all of a sudden.
How do you remember how reference of Halloween 5?
Because I know that film much more than I fucking should. Much more than I should.
Right, so today we are doing the VelociPastor. This is Adam's choice. Are we all very excited to talk about it?
Yes.
But we're not going to talk about it yet, are we?
No.
What are we going to do first?
Quiz.
Oh, are you excited for that?
Yes.
Does the Pope shit in the woods?
So, the scores. Ben, you're on 2. Adam, you're on 1. I'm on 0. If anyone does not know what the quiz is, I ask Ben and Adam a couple of questions, and if they get it right, they get a point. If they get it wrong, I get the point. Today, we're doing questions all about the Velociraptor.
You said it wrong, my friend.
The VelociPastor. I can't help. Do you know my son loves dinosaurs so much? Do you know how many times I say Velociraptor in a day?
Quick question. Did you watch this with him?
No, I did not.
Oh, he would have loved it.
He probably would have.
He'd be like, Daddy, when do I turn into a dinosaur?
I showed him the little GIF, or GIF as Ben likes to say, of the VelociPastor fighting the ninjas, but when he's in full view. He wasn't interested.
And what did he think?
He was not interested. Okay, I will actually do the first question now. Are you ready? There are 2 questions today, not 3.
Come on, I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. Get your thinking caps on.
I don't think we need to if it's about this film.
This is fastest. This is
harsh.
trigger finger now. Fastest to the answer. Father Stewart was told he should have 11 kids and that he should spend 15 minutes a day with each of them. How many hours is that in a day?
Wait, what?
I'm trying to work it out. I know what you're asking. 8?
9 hours and 50 minutes.
You're definitely wrong. Why are you putting in odd numbers? Is it 8?
You say 11 hours and he's got to spend 50 minutes with each of them.
He's got
to spend
11
15.
kids. He has to spend 15 minutes a day with
15.
each of them. 15.
15. Oh, I thought you said 50.
I got it all wrong.
Okay, I'll let you reset. Go on. You both try.
That's like, what is that?
I want the exact number. I don't want that is like this.
Oh, it's 5.5 hours.
I know. 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Thank you, Ben. Yes.
Got it. Okay, got it in the end.
Fuck me, I did it in half an hour. I fucked this up.
I thought Adam would be bang on that question. He loves maths.
I was so
couldn't
confused.
We've got these new mics, and I thought you said 50. That's what was confusing me. And then I timed it up to 30 in my head.
I thought you were saying
easier.
if you spent 15 minutes every hour in a day, how much would that add up to? That was a weird question, Paul.
If you actually, well, this is actually a double question because if you actually paid attention to the film, this is what he said. So, but I was actually giving you the quote, and you still couldn't get it.
Well, there you go. Am I getting that point, or are you taking
I would give
it?
you that. I would give you that point. Don't worry.
Fucking hell.
Unless wait. I'll let Adam decide. Do you want to give the point to Ben, or do you want to give the point to me?
Ben, do you think you deserve the point?
No, I don't,
Well, then
because I should
I
have
will take
listened.
the point then. I will take the point. Thank you very much. Are you ready for the next question?
See how fair I play?
So fair. See how fair I play. You both were stumbling over that answer.
Oh, yeah.
And I was going to give you it. Here we go. The next question. The closest to the right answer within 10% to get the point. Okay?
Fucking hell, this numbers game on us today.
On Rotten Tomatoes, what tomato meter rating does VelociPastor have?
Fuck.
27%.
I'm going high. I'm going 58.
You've done it, Adam. It's 54.
Is it? I thought it'd be high. I didn't think it would be that low.
Well, there you go.
58 was the first number that came into my head as soon as you said it, so that's what I went for.
No points for Ben today.
Explain to me how tomato meter works, because I don't use that.
Neither do I.
It's like an IMDb score, isn't it?
Yeah, so tomato
fans
meter,
rating.
yeah, it's the critic rating. And then the other one is the
Popcorn,
audience
isn't
score.
it?
Yeah, it's audience score or something.
Oh, right. So the tomato rating is specifically people who are registered as critics.
Yes, indeed.
All right, I see. Because they're more important than the general plebs.
But
Of
you
course.
could be a Rotten Tomatoes critic. You just have to get approved.
Yeah, I know. I looked into that before. It's long, man. Forget it.
Has anyone booted up the Rotten Tomatoes website and looked at VelociPastor while I've been saying this?
No.
No.
Bonus question. What is the audience score for VelociPastor? Closest, 10%.
Wow.
75.
That sounds like, oh, mate, you said that too quickly. You know, I'm going to say 81.
You should have gone lower. It's 71.
Fuck.
Adam stole another point.
Adam.
Fuck.
3-2-1. Well done, Adam.
I don't know how I've done this, but we've done it somehow.
I don't know how you've done it. You've been getting your research in for VelociPastor. Christ almighty. I'm just chomping at the bit for us to get to talk to this goddamn film.
Should we just get on with it then?
No, before we do that...
Oh yes, we've got to give a shout out to some lovely people, haven't we?
We've got to give a shout out, and Adam, you also have to tell us what our Patreon subject is today.
Why did you say it like that?
Why can't I say it like that? What's wrong with that?
It just sounded weird.
Patreon subject is for today.
You went Patreon subject today.
I can say it however the fuck I want, Adam.
Anyway,
How about you just get on with it?
I'm picking at you today, Paul. It's fun.
I'm asking you the question. You got to answer it.
Oh, I'm saying it now.
Yes.
This is
Okay.
the worst segue into talking about our first ever bunch of patrons ever. I apologise profusely.
So after this, if you want to pay some money and tune in, you can listen to us talk. We are going to be picking our favourite films with a terrible plot summary. I won't want films that have got a Hollywood budget. I want these type of VelociPastor type of films. Your favourite type of film that's not got a lot of funding and it has a stupid plot summary, like a pastor turns into a dinosaur and starts killing people.
Like a piece of pasta.
Yeah, it's
like a piece of pasta.
A piece of pasta.
And check it out. Let me make it fucking clear, because that was a cloudy conversation for 2 minutes. People don't know what the hell we're talking about. But just to clarify for everyone, if you want to hear that conversation, you have to be a Patreon. And we launched Patreon in our last episode, and we got some lovely patrons who have signed up since the last episode. And we're going to lay their names on you right now, baby. So you listen closely for these 4 sexy names coming forward. Hit them with the names.
We've got the beautiful Jamie Russell.
We have Katie and OT from our very good friends at For Your Reference.
We have the wonderful Julio at Ovnio from the Contrarians.
And then we have the very amazing Nerdrovert.
We appreciate your support, and it means a lot.
Hugely. This is like incredibly humbling. We only launched this thing at the beginning of the year because we wanted to see if there was interest. So the fact that we've had it so far means a lot to us.
Thank you.
We are
much.
the kings of being underwhelming about such serious things sometimes, but genuinely it fucking means the world. So thank you. We will be giving you some good bonus content, and if you want to join those ranks, you know where to go.
You can go to www.patreon.com/filmbusters.
Stick around till the end of the episode, because you might hear a little more from our patrons before the episode is up.
Yes, they have some more recommendations for you, don't they?
Well, we're going to keep that bit mysterious.
That sounded like Ben wanted to keep the cards close to his chest and Adam just revealed everything.
Fuck that, man. You got to get people excited.
They were more excited when they didn't know what the patrons were going to do.
Well, you can pick and choose, Paul. You pick and choose if you're going to tell it or not.
Oh, God, this podcast has been amateur hour so far since we began. It's fitting that it was for
Well,
VelociPastor.
very
This is a
fitting.
messy podcast, boys. Shall we segue into our main fucking thing that we're here for?
Let's
Yes, if we can get this
do
part
it.
right.
How are we going to do this?
We'll make a plan.
Plan.
Yeah. Create rules.
Rules. Rules, right. Like commandments, right? Things to live by.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. I can still practice, right? I mean, I can still be a priest, right?
Yeah, I think.
Okay. We're the only ones that can know about this. Father Stewart can't know.
Sure. Who is Father Stewart?
This is a good thing. A good thing. We're gonna help people. I mean, do real good, right? Right?
Right. Now, I don't know much about God.
I don't know much about dinosaurs.
Right, everyone, today we are talking about the VelociPastor, not the Velociraptor, as I did say earlier.
Or pasta, as in the food that you eat.
Or pasta like the food you eat, yes. This is a spoiler episode. We'll go straight into spoilers. There's no hanging around. If you don't want to be spoiled by the VelociPastor, then don't. Listen on. Go watch the film and come back and listen to this. You weirdo. Why are you listening to this if you haven't seen the film? But anyway, Adam, would you like to do a very, very good plot summary?
Okay, right. This actually might be the first time I can do a plot summary that's better than the film.
Wow.
So this film is basically there's a pasta, not the food, pastor. I don't know how it goes.
Is there a pasta?
Yeah, he's in a church at the beginning. That's about as far as that goes.
That's about as much as you can connect it, yeah.
And his parents die, and he's a bit sad. So he goes off to China, and he's in China. And he's just walking through the woods, and he basically gets caught in the middle of a fight, and someone throws a dinosaur tooth at him and says, "Destroy this," and but he doesn't understand it, and the dinosaur tooth pierces his hand, and he then turns into a dinosaur every time he gets angry and starts eating people. Oh, he goes back to America though, but they don't really explain that in the film like I explained it.
He never fucking leaves America.
You mean he doesn't go to China?
I know. Ruining the illusion of the film. I think that was New Jersey.
What more do you want in a film?
I would like some ninjas.
Oh,
Whoa.
yes, and some ninjas. And he gets some ninjas that do drug dealing, get pissed off at him and start attacking him.
Are you telling me that there's ninjas, a dinosaur, and a priest, my three favourite things in one film?
Yes.
Oh my god.
The VelociPastor originated in 2010 when director Brendan Steer made a fake Grindhouse trailer featuring a priest who turns into a dinosaur. He actually had a dinosaur costume that had been lying around since his film school days, and he decided he was going to make a trailer out of it. It got shitloads of views online. and basically picked up enough fame for someone to fund it. So it had a $35,000 budget and got turned into the 2017 feature film The VelociPastor, starring Greg Cohen and Alyssa Kempinski, those stars of Hollywood.
Beautiful.
Do you reckon this is the smallest budget out of any film we've covered?
Most certainly.
Yes, I'd say so.
So, because this is my pick, I get to pick what order I hear from the guys, and I am going to start with Paul, and then Ben, and then I'm going to go last.
Okay, then. So I go straight into it?
Yeah.
Okay.
VelociPastor.
Where
Here we go.
to start? I think this may have been one of my most baffling viewing experiences I've ever had, especially in terms of my enjoyment level.
Yeah.
It's so shit, and generally I'll be compelled to hate something so cheap and crappy, but the production have major balls for leaning into the utter ridiculousness of this whole film, and I respect them. I respect them for their hustle, and using its like the standard is standing in like the film industry and the production value. It uses this disadvantage as its advantage, and I think it's pretty genius. It makes you almost feel like you're in on the joke, and it switches your mindset to like laughing at the ridiculousness of it all and at the creation rather than the creators of it, because you're normally like, how could people make this film? But it's like, well, they made it, and they made it like this on purpose, so it kind of switches your mindset on it. And I don't even know what B movies are like nowadays. I know Adam could probably fill us in on that in this episode, but I don't know whether this stands alone as something that like parodies itself, or if this is just how B movies are nowadays. But I can only go with my heart on this rating, and I'm pretty sure I had a good time, and I admire the determination of it all, and I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10.
Yes.
6 out of 10. Adam, what the fuck are you cheering for, boy?
I'm just happy it didn't get a straight up 1 star like American Psycho 2 did. I'm happy it's at least going to be above a Jesus Rolls, maybe.
This is Ben's rating for Jesus Rolls.
Go on then, Ben. Let's see if you're going to make us cheer as well.
Well, look, everything Paul said is the same way that I feel about this film, right? When you said VelociPastor in the last episode, I thought, fuck me, our podcast is off to a bad start because we're going from American Psycho 2 into the VelociPastor. People are going to think that we just watched the shittest movies ever. But within 5 minutes of this film, you instantly are on the side of the filmmakers. You know, like you said, they know they're making a bad movie and they're leaning into it. They're not, this isn't like most shitty bad movies nowadays, because crucially most bad movies are bad because the people making them couldn't give a shit about them. They're quick in and out, and I can testify for all of the shitty B shark films that I've watched over the past year with young attractive people and stupid sweeping camera movements. You don't give a fuck about anyone on screen, you don't give a fuck about anyone off screen. This film is clearly a labour of love, and it is a joy to watch. They clearly had a lot of fun making it. It's probably the best bad movie, intentionally bad movie I've ever seen in my life. I had a lot of fun watching it. It's an 8 out of 10.
Wow!
Yes.
Look
no
at
one
that.
is more surprised than me.
Look at that.
Yes.
That's mental.
Yes,
Come on,
this
Adam.
is what we wanted. So, yeah, I saw this film. I've seen this plot summary a while ago, and it's always interested me. And I've always been I've watched quite a few films like this, like really shit films. Like I've watched a film that's half shark. It's a shark that's half shark and octopus, and it fights a pterodactyl or something like that. That's half barracuda as well. There's a lot of bad films out there. They are
Why
bad.
do you subject yourself
this
to all
film
of this?
Is a completely different kettle of fish to them. This film has heart, number one. People, like you said, you guys are there straight away from the beginning. You're on board with this film. Like when that car blows up at the beginning and they don't put anything there, straight away you're like, I'd kind of rather that than you put in some shit CGI on a flaming car. Like, let's play along with this. People do care about this film. And when I was watching this film, it clicked to me early on what this film is. This film is Always Sunny in Philadelphia. If they actually had to make a feature-length film like they did with Lethal Weapon 5, they would make this film. It's not going to be great, but it's got a lot of heart, and it's it's actually kind of well done in some places. It's not badly directed. The acting isn't terrible.
No.
And you can get on board with the jokes and stuff. It got a bit flat in some places, but it kept itself moving. It kept itself stupid. Like ninjas fighting dinosaurs. What more do you want in a film? And I'm giving this film 8 out of 10 as well.
Oh shit! Oh my god, this is going to be so high on our average list.
That is funny,
And
man.
it deserves it. This deserves to be high over some of the films we've watched, that Hollywood standard films that haven't got close to what these people have achieved with their money
Yeah.
and their heart.
Do you know what? This is the thing about this film. Do you know last episode you were like, this has got such a sporadic rating. There's people giving it 1,
Yeah.
people giving it 10s. I can totally understand every rating. Like people can give it.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised at any rating that anyone gives it,
No.
If
because it's like
someone hated it, you go, fair enough. Like,
Yeah.
I can see why you hated it.
when you're watching it, it's like I don't even know what I'm supposed to feel right now, because you're enjoying it, but it's like, but is it good? I don't even know.
Yeah, exactly. When I finished watching it, I was kind of a bit like, shit, I shouldn't have picked this film because we're going to have to give it a score. And it's definitely the type of film you shouldn't really give a score. Because
It's one of the hardest films that I've had to score.
Yeah.
I've changed it so much in my time. When I first came out, I was like, that's like a kind of like a 6, and it went down to like a 5. And then it's got up, and since then I found I kept thinking about it, and it's just, I found new bits about it I love. This film, it's got a lot of heart. That is the main thing about this film. Like, we've covered a lot of superhero films in this, and like those kind of Marvel films, and this just, it's just like, this is like what, if people like You Should Save Cinema, these are the type of films that kind of need to live more.
Yeah, this is the
They're
stuff,
done well, like...
You're right, it's about heart. I would much rather, and I'm not saying this to be provocative, but I would obviously much rather watch this, the VelociPastor, made by a very small team, like, who are amateur fucking filmmakers, putting something silly and fun together like this, than 80% of mainstream Hollywood shit that gets out there.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at the percentage of films that we collectively, or I, have given less than an 8 for this podcast, I'm genuine when I say that VelociPastor is better than them, because I have more fun. Ultimately, I want to feel something, and if that thing is fun, entertained, then great. I would much rather that than something, Paul, you said Adam can tell us a lot about the other B movies that he's watched, and yes, I'm interested to hear what you've got to say, Adam, but I mean it.
They're completely different.
Crucial
to this.
thing is those films they're not even entertaining. It's like they take the concept, right? This film could have very easily just said, the great concept is a priest turns into a dinosaur. Great. And all we'll do is occasionally we'll show a CGI dinosaur head on this priest as he takes out gang members and prostitutes and criminals, right? That as a concept is shit. It's how you execute it. And if you go to it wearing your fucking heart on your sleeve with some friends and some local people that you know, and mock up everything in your fucking basement, and
Turn everything up to 11, basically.
Turn everything
Just
up
go
to
for it.
11 with very limited capabilities and have fun doing it. That's beautiful to see. That's incredible.
Absolutely.
And that is a million times better than any fucking B movie that I watched last year. All those Sharknado films which get cult classic status. That's silly shit. It's
That's terrible.
mind-numbingly
They're
entertaining.
unwatchable in places. They get to the point where you're trying to make the CGI, and they use CGI and they haven't got the money to use it, and then it looks bad and it's off-putting, and everything they try to make doesn't really work. It's like when I watched Llamageddon, it's going to get mentioned 3 times in a row here. Yes, they used a real llama. They had a real llama on set, but when it's doing the CGI, it's kind of like, I can see what you're doing here. You're obviously having fun making it, but the execution, if they had gone along this route a bit more, it would have worked in probably a better way. And also, the main point is in this film is the actors were actually watchable to act. That is a key thing, because what you watch a lot of these B films, the actors, they're not very good actors, are they? Let's be honest. Sorry to...
Because they're always airheads. They recruit models.
They're always pretty, and
they're always pretty people, male and female, with no chemistry, no investment in it. Like, they're not friends with the fucking director or the writer. They're just people who've come along for an acting gig, and that's it. Whereas this felt like the three of us going to make a movie.
Yeah.
It's like if the three of us got £35,000 and by coincidence we had a really good King Kong costume, we'd be like, okay, well, we're going to be making a budget King Kong movie. And
and
what
you add some
happens-
ninjas in it. Like, who doesn't like
Yeah.
ninjas being added in films? And they're doing, like, when they were doing the ninja training camp, and they just got some guy in the back just like punching midair. It's like, you are fully embracing this, man. Like, do you know what this is like? You guys have seen this film, Captain Alex.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it
Who's-
reminded me of that. But you
Yeah.
know, Captain Alex, I think was intentionally thought it was. I thought Captain Alex always thought it was a good action film, but it's just culturally in Uganda, by having a VJ, a video jockey, over the top of it, that's just the culture of their movies. So it seems extreme and ridiculous to us, but I reckon that's probably the norm for a lot of their cinema.
I would say so, yeah.
It's just, yeah, it's just a film of heart, and that's why it was like reminding me straight away of Always Sunny. Like, that's a TV show that came along with not a lot of money, and they're just friends who just know each other, and they're having a great time making that show, and they just fully embrace that side of it and go with it, and it works perfectly.
Yeah, it just regresses you back, like, to when you were younger, making films and just having a laugh at it. And like me and you, Ben, making Sharks at a Wedding, just like literally like laughing the whole way through, because you know it's ridiculous, and you're literally thinking stuff up on the spot that's just like, this is funny, let's just do it, let's just throw it in there. And that's what it just feels like, just watching the whole film play out.
And that's kind of what it is. That they were just like making much of it up on the spot. You know, the beautiful thing about this situation, as some people might know, at the end of the last episode, we had to go and track down how we would view VelociPastor, because it's not available really in the UK. So I ended up spending 20 quid on this DVD, and then seconds later Paul found a free trial online where it could be viewed online, and it was too late for me to get a refund, so I now have this DVD. I'm so glad I got it, because there's a director's commentary on
Is there?
on it,
That'll
and
be
I've
fun.
watched it with the director's
Did you?
commentary and the lead actor and the producer, and it's like, oh man, everything that you feel about this film is evident in the commentary, because they are all so thrilled that they were able to make this movie. And you know, they could have missed the mark. It could have been just friends making it, but it was a bad movie where the jokes they wrote didn't land. The jokes, they land. That's the other beautiful thing. It's a B movie, but the jokes are funny.
Yeah.
They're fun.
Do you know
There's so
what my
much funny
favourite
shit
things
in
of
it.
this whole film was? It's quite early in the film. It's just after we've killed Frankie Mermaid, and he goes back to the house and he tells her about he's killed Frankie Mermaid. And there's a moment where they look at each other, and there's obviously like, this is when the sexual tension's going to start between the two main characters here. And they hold it and they hold it, and then they just give each other a high five.
Yes.
It was so good.
And then there's a montage of clips of them just being out,
Yeah.
having fun together.
Yeah.
Showing
sharing ice
Jesus,
cream and stuff.
stained glass windows.
You do these montage clips, and there's like quite a few of them. I think there's 3 of them through the film. Was it 3 or 2? But they're well done as well. And it kind of shows that the people behind the film have still got a bit of filmmaking talent, and they kind of know what they're doing
Yeah.
to be able to make these montage scenes good. Like, even the sex scene in it, Ben, I know you don't like sex scenes, but I think you could have probably got on board with that one, because they did it in a whole montage thing, and it was like split screens going all over.
was funny. It outstayed its welcome. I think that kind of ran on a little longer than it needed to. I love the stained glass effect that you were talking about, Paul, where you see the stained glasses behind this montage of sex scenes, but the whole sex scene kind of went on for too long. That's why I couldn't give it like a full 10, because there were certain things where I was like, that's kind of running on a little bit too long for my liking now, which is funny considering the movie's like 70 minutes long.
Yeah.
Just to pull it back to the beginning, at what point did you boys go, okay, I'm like, obviously we all knew it was going to be a budget stupid movie, but at what point did you get on board with it and be like, okay, I'm enjoying it, rather than just watching it ironically?
I was a little bit further in, because like I almost felt like, oh, are they trying too hard? Like when the explosion happened, I didn't really laugh at that part. But now I
didn't laugh at that part.
No,
Don't think you
I
meant to
reckon
laugh.
if I watch this again, I could
probably
really
would.
enjoy it. But it's because I even like Frankie Mermaid, he was annoying me. But then I think it got pot as soon as after that bit, I think after Frankie Mermaid got killed, and when
Okay.
they were deciding, okay, let's go and get all the criminals, I was like, okay, I'm into this now, and I settled into it. It felt like they're trying too hard, but then as soon as that must have been about 20 minutes in, about that type of time, wasn't it, when you've killed Frankie Mermaid?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think after then I was like, no, I'm fully on board with this now, this is good.
Yeah, so you obviously have the car scene that blows up, and they put the visual effects across it, and you're like, okay, that kind of threw me back a bit because I wasn't expecting it. So you're a bit like,
No.
where's this film going to go from here on? And then he goes off to China. That bit's a bit funny and a bit silly, and he rolls down the hill
Mate, that
for like
is
no
so
reason.
funny when the subtitle comes on screen and says China, and you're like,
Yeah.
fuck,
And he goes,
it's clearly
and then
not.
And then the main actor goes, I'm in China.
And like,
but the
what,
main-
you drove all the way to China?
The part that got me is when Frankie Mermaid started speaking to her outside the house. And he says, why do they call me Frankie Mermaid?
Because I'm swimming in
Because I'm
bitches.
swimming in
Yeah,
bitches.
and it was just like, that is
Oh,
stupid.
you would like
now
that,
I know
you
what level
scummy
of
boy.
what level this film is at, and I was on board from then. It took that first like 10 minutes to maybe pad it out, and
I was on it, when the explosion happened and they put in the VFX gag, I was like, okay, you're aware of the fact that you're making a bad film, because to that point, there isn't an indication. So when they did that, I was like, okay, you're going to lean into the laughs. And what you said, Paul, it's like, okay, this go one of two ways. Either this is going to be annoying or it's going to be funny. So I didn't laugh at that bit, but I was open to it. But then when it goes to that scene where he's with the older priest and he's got him drinking the wine, I thought, well, this is funny. This priest is now drinking the red wine because of what's happened to his parents. And then they superimpose both of their faces on the screen, even though you're already seeing them sat beside each other. And they've got that green and red mood lighting over their faces while they're saying the lines. And I'm like, why would you even do this effect? You're only doing this because it's like, oh, well, let's just try this effect for this really intense scene. And he's like, you must go where God won't find you. And he's like, where God won't find me. And then it cuts to the credits and you're like, what is going on here? I was like, I'm in for this ride now. And then off the back of that, right, so after his escapade in China, which is the woods in New Jersey, he wakes up like the whole thing was a dream.
yeah.
But it wasn't. So what was the dream supposed to be? Because that whole scenario,
I think he just came back to America. I literally think he was in China for that one scene where he gets shot and then rolls down the hill, and then he wakes back up back in America, where they don't say he's back in America.
no, because you know he never fucking left.
I like that scene. I think one of my favourite people is Father Stewart. Actually, I just like everything he comes out with. It's so random, and you know, like he's like, I can't remember what he's talking about. He's like, what did that Chinese say? And he's talking about all the Chinese men. It's like, you can't say that. And then he's like, you got
so rough
to
around the edges.
feed a fever and starve a cold. It's like the opposite of what you should do.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's the
I thought
opposite.
that was the way around. I thought you...
Feed a fever, starve.
You're supposed to feed a cold and starve a fever.
Is that right?
Yes.
I've heard drown a fever.
Drown?
I can't remember.
Drown?
I've heard drown as in drink lots of water. You know, drown a fever, starve a cold.
Oh, I know. Feed a cold and starve a fever.
Well, mate, all this information. People are relying on us for this medical shit. About as much as they were relying on that fucking father for religious advice. So on that, you know, that father, that's the director's dad, who had never acted before in his life.
Oh, that's cool.
He wasn't bad.
He wasn't bad. That's the thing. This guy is just he is just some normal dude, and his son was like, "Do you want to play the father in this film?" And he's like, "Okay."
There was also another brilliant part in it, and it's one of the guys he kills. He's lying on the floor and he's dead, and he's got a cigarette in his mouth, and you can see the cigarette is still being smoked, even
Still
though
smoked.
the guy's dead on the floor. There's still smoke coming out of it. There's either a fake cigarette or the actor's just still carrying it on.
There's a lot of funny shit, man. Like a lot of it, some of it seemed intentional, and some of it seemed unintentional, but it all just fucking worked, generally speaking.
Also, I really, really, really appreciated the family scene suddenly coming back round. So like when the whole Frankie Mermaid was talking about killing his parents, and you got them just laughing around the table, and then it throws back to it later on, and his brother was just sitting in the door.
I know, that was some funny stuff.
So how about the Vietnam scene?
One of the funniest scenes in the entire film was when his wife exploded in front of him. Brilliant.
It's like a bucket just thrown on him.
I was watching it with Jenny, and Jenny I have not heard her laugh like that in so long. It was
Really?
like proper tears in her eyes laughing.
So how did you guys watch this film then? You watched it with Jenny when you were hungover, didn't you, Ben?
Deeply hungover, and that was the best way to watch it as well.
Yeah, exactly. I watched it with my housemates, and again, you just like everyone just sits down and you just enjoy it and you just watch it together.
What
Yeah.
did they think of it?
Dan, who I watched it with, he only gave it a 6, but he's also one who normally wants to watch all these type of films. I feel like maybe on reflection, you probably warmed to this film a bit more, and I think he was a bit thrown back. He thought it was going to be a CGI dinosaur, and I think he's a bit thrown back by the fact that
I'm so
just
glad
a man
it
in a
wasn't.
costume.
I'm glad it was as well.
It adds to the value, man.
You know that scene, the very first scene where you see him transform and he attacks the mugger? That's actually, considering what they had, that crap costume, that was actually really well directed.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, what more can you do with that costume? It was done pretty fucking well.
I think that's what even makes the last scene even better, because you almost expect like this really scary dinosaur, and it's almost like some like dwarf.
You can just
T-Rex.
see his head sticking out the lump of the thing.
Yeah, he's got a hunchback.
And he's like jumping. He's doing little hops, like going up the ninjas. It was really well done. I love that visual of him fighting the ninjas is like, that stands out as something amazing, just right there.
That's the one that has been turned into a GIF, right? That's what is doing the rounds on Twitter at the moment.
Yeah.
It's
Indeed.
great. That was the director in the costume as well.
Oh, was it? I was thinking. I wonder if it was the actor or or someone else.
He was the only person short enough to fit inside it.
All right, tell me this: the main character, doesn't he look like Michael C. Hall?
Oh yeah, Jenny said it.
Oh,
Straight
yeah,
away, I
can
was
see
like,
that.
"Oh my god, this is just Mike. He could be his brother or something."
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
He really fucking looked like him, big time. I really liked him as like you're saying, because the actor was kind of good. I liked him because you could tell, he says it in the commentary, but you could tell that when he got given this script, he had a choice to make, which was like, do I just act silly all the time, or do I try and take every scene seriously? And he was like, I'm going to go right in the middle. I'm going to try and be genuine to the situation in every scene. So
I felt he was kind of a bit serious throughout the film. He wasn't trying to be funny and trying to be stupid, which kind of worked with the chaos around it as well.
Makes it funny.
What about that scene when his eye is twitching in the confessional booth before he's about to change? You killed my parents. His eye is twitching.
That's also another great bit, because it's like, the moment this film started out, I was like, this is going to be like American Psycho 2, where they're going to build up to all these kills and then you don't see them, and I'll be really annoyed about that if they haven't got like the budget from the makeup and all this kind of stuff. But you just fully embrace it all, and you just see him just like claw some guy's throat. And again, the makeup for it wasn't terrible.
No, it was pretty good. It was exactly what you'd expect if you're saying the film has 35 grand, which sounds like a lot of money, but it ain't when you factor in all the things that are involved. And they invested in some good blood work.
All those tickets to China, that must be like 30 grand.
When she is coughing up blood at the end, I said to Jenny, doesn't seem like much, but this is quite clever, because in a normal film, they would cut away and then cut back and then they would cough the blood up. But she was talking. She was talking and then she coughed the blood up. And it's like, where was that blood while she was talking?
She must have a capsule in her mouth or something.
No, apparently, I was listening to the commentary because I was hoping they would say she had a capsule or something. And they said, oh yeah, and she was a great sport. She kept letting us just pour blood in her mouth in between takes. It's like, so she had that blood in her mouth. Must have been holding it in her throat and talking past the blood and then coughing it up. That's
Oscar shit, man.
She needs an Oscar.
It's a quiet year. Give it to her. No, it was made 2 years ago. What a shame. Otherwise, she'd have been a shoo-in for the Oscar.
I loved as well where he got shot with the dart at the end, or the antidote that takes away the. And he goes, "This hand is immune."
Oh man.
Why did the Chinese man have a Hitler moustache?
Oh, because he can. Do what he
I
wants.
think that guy just acts that way. That guy apparently said to the director, I want to have a silver willy. Can I have my willy out in the scenes? And the director was like, it doesn't really call for it. It's like, we're making a silly film, but you don't need to get your willy out. And he's like, I want to make it really big and silver. It'll be funny. And he was like, no.
What?
I don't know why he was asking for that. Apparently that man is like an artist, that the Chinese guy. He's like this big artist in New York.
Wow.
He's got loads of stuff in the Guggenheim Museum and shit like that. You think, why are you in this
This
film?
is his greatest bit of art.
Yes, that is what the Silver Willy was. That was his expressionism coming out.
That was it.
Yeah. I'm really, really glad you guys got on board with this film, because when I picked it, I was thinking, I want to pick one of these type of B movies that you always have a go at me if you keep watching at the moment. And I saw the score for this and I thought, great, this is either going to be this way or it's going to go the other way, or one of us might hate it, some of us going to love it, and I'm really glad you both got on board with it. Even when I said it, I don't think you two were on board with it, and that's why I was quite more worried.
No,
I thought when you say it, you'd have a bit more like, let's go for it, and you were like, why are we doing this?
But you, Adam, you are on this personal mission to watch as many of these sorts of films as possible. Like, listeners, I will log into Letterboxd and see recent activity, and Adam, as he says, is watching things like Larmageddon and Prehistoric Rex and shit like this. All these really bad, terrible films, and they're like bad ones that aren't entertaining.
Yeah.
And you're subjecting yourself to so many of them.
Some of them are fun though, and it's just like you put it on.
Only this one, mate. This is one of the only.
What about
ones.
the other one I told you to watch? Is it Poseidon Rex? That was
yeah,
okay.
But mate, we cannot even compare this to Poseidon Rex. Poseidon Rex is exactly the kind of film which is a nothing. It is CGI, and everyone in it is like, just give me the paycheck so I can go home.
Are they all taking it seriously in it?
They're taking it
so.
seriously, but they're acting stupidly. But the key thing is, with a film like VelociPastor, you can feel like if someone wasn't going to be filming a scene that day, you would believe that they would turn up just to watch it being made, because it feels like a whole collective of people that are just pleased and have got this good energy that they want to put towards this film. All those CGI monstrosity films are just so empty, man.
Yeah.
They rely only on the CGI to get people talking. That's all they rely on.
And they're so much. The amount of them I've watched and I've had to turn off because they're not good at all.
No, but you've watched so many of them.
I haven't watched that many. I've probably watched about 10 in the last year.
I'm
you
sorry,
watched all
mate.
the Sharknado films, Ben. You spent a week watching just Sharknado.
Yeah, I went through the Sharknado as a little test of endurance, and I made it out the other side. I'll never revisit it. But you tell me, out of all the B movies that you have seen in this sort of bracket, tell me something that you think is better than VelociPastor.
Well, you have to find out in the Patreon service, won't we?
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
Okay.
shit.
All right. That was a genuine question, but okay. All right.
I don't want to give it away now.
Okay, fair play. All right, that's cool. That's why we got to just keep you dancing
film
on
that
the
I'm-
end of our tongues.
Just a little heads up, the film that I'm going to pick is got the same rating for me as this film.
Okay.
And, yeah, we'll talk about it in a bit.
Lovely. Let me just say about this film, right, that because it is so hard to rate, I just didn't know how to feel while watching it, and I really would like to go back and watch it, because it was overall, by the time I got to the end, it was a joy to watch, and I'd really like to see how I feel about it on a second viewing. I'm not going to upgrade it now. I'm keeping it a 6 because of that first section where I wasn't sure.
Yeah, of course.
I want to keep it as a 6 because I'm still not 100% on it, but I had a good time and I would 100% watch this again.
Yeah, it's a good time, and I think it will hold up to repeat viewing if you know like what's going to happen. Like, it's the kind of film that I could imagine. Not that I ever do this. I never throw a party and put a film on, because if a film's going on, I'm going to pay attention to it. But if you were to, this is exactly the kind of film that you would chuck on and be like, oh shit, have you guys seen VelociPastor? No, it's going on. Like, I wouldn't say that about Sharknado, because people would be like, yeah, it's just American crap. Sorry, America, but like in Britain, we say American crap for a certain wave of film, certain style of film, and it's that very, very American, we're all beautiful, we're all gonna fuck each other type stories, and no interest in that.
We're gonna fuck each other.
But that's the subtext of these films. Of all the things like Sharknado and all those films, it's about, here's a bunch of young people, you want to see them fuck, don't you? Don't you? That's what it is. And then no one fucks, and it's like, well, I didn't want to see it, and you gave me no good shark action, so I'm out. Although I'm already in because I've watched it all and you got my money. Although you didn't, because I streamed it, but if I'd had paid, you would have. I'm glad to have paid 20 quid for this. I feel good
When it turned up
that
and
this
you put it
film
on
was
Twitter
this.
and you were a bit like, oh, for fuck, this is my most expensive import film.
It genuinely is, and I'm so pleased and proud that it is.
That is fantastic.
You know, the beauty of it is, like, because the guy made it as a trailer, you can imagine, like, okay, I've got this costume, we'll just make a silly trailer, 2 minutes, and then if people loved it enough that they managed to fund a feature film, it is like, imagine Paul, like if one of our films, imagine if Leader of the House, which is a film me and Paul made where we're Charles Manson and Adolf Hitler living together as roommates. Imagine that really took off and people fell in love with the concept, and some independent private investor came to us and was like, all right, here's 40 grand, go and make me a feature film. This is how we would do it, because we'd be like, right, we've got this very limited amount of money. We need to strike a balance between telling a good, entertaining story for people, but also filming something that we can actually film for that amount of money.
Yeah.
And we would rope people. You'd be roping people you knew into it. I'd be roping people I knew into it. We'd be swapping who's holding the camera at different times. And, you know, it would probably turn out shit and no one would want to watch it. But if the purity of intention is right, and if the people, all the ingredients involved are right, it will work.
If it's got a heart, people will love it.
The heart's got to be there, but I don't like when this happens and then too much money goes into something, it becomes too clean.
Yes.
And it's like you need it to be a bit dirty still. And this is what this is, and it's like, I like that. It's nice. I like that they didn't try too hard to make it this mainstream Hollywood kind of everyone's gonna love it. It's like, it's shit and it's great. And it's great for being shit.
It is. And I don't think you can take away the fact that all the people involved in it clearly knew each other and were close, because that makes all the difference. But let's bring it a little closer to home for our podcast, right? So, and this is no reflection on anyone that we listen to, because everyone that we listen to is in the same boat for the most part. But you can tell there's a difference between podcasters who know each other in real life as we do, and are friends in real life, and when we come together for something like this, our natural energy and enthusiasm just comes through in what we do. It's clear that we know each other
something we do for years, basically.
You know how to push each other's buttons.
We know those little things, and we also know how to make each other shine a little more than otherwise. Compare that to some podcasts that I've listened to where you have, let's say, 3 people who don't know each other but are brought together by, let's say, a certain platform that they all work for, or someone's just decided it's a good idea on Twitter. And I'm not shaming anyone, I haven't got anyone particularly in mind, but it's clear when those podcasts come together that the people don't really have great chemistry, and it's obvious, and for that reason everyone only says as much as they think they can get away with saying, whereas us 3, we will say whatever we want to say to each other. That's a roundabout way of saying with VelociPastor, I think because everyone was so involved in the making of it and knew each other so well, they all protected it along the way. As opposed to this being the brainchild of this director, and then he recruited loads of people he didn't know. Like some cameramen would be like, oh, well, that's not the way I would film that, and this is a bit stupid. Then the production falls apart. It's all about how invested the parties are that are working on the thing that tells you how good it's going to be. That's why we like to keep things a family affair over here.
That is a very good analogy. I like that. Wonderful. What a wonderful film.
Do we have any final things to say on this? Any bits that stood out that we haven't really spoken
yes, of? I appreciate the balls of this film to end on a Gandhi quote as well.
Yeah.
It was like great, and he turns into a badass. He's got $1 billion bounty on his head.
And doesn't she say, oh, there's bad guys all over the world, we can go to London? And it's like, surely the sequel, come on, bring it to London.
We'll be in it.
There talks about a sequel, isn't there?
Please.
I think there's supposed there
we'll
is
be in
talks
it.
about
We'll be
sequel.
recording our podcast, and you can come and murder us if you want.
Oh, come on. This is it right now. We're putting the word out there. If you're making a sequel, we will work for free. We will be in your film. You will not have to pay us.
No.
And we're big shots in London, we promise.
We are big shots. We have all the connections. If you put us in your film, oh my lord, you'll double your budget back.
You can even use Ben's cat.
No, not using... My cat would destroy the raptor costume. All right, let's talk about the fact that it isn't a fucking raptor. It's a T-Rex. Why? It's because of the gag. You can't find a good gag to get a pasta and T-Rex.
You couldn't have T-pasta, could you?
No.
That sounds like a shit T-Pain.
Like, he said, I don't know how true this is, but he said the idea literally came to him when he was trying to write Velociraptor in his phone, but it auto-corrected to VelociPastor. I mean, I could believe that is something that might happen.
My phone now corrects Velociraptor to VelociPastor the amount of times I've said it in this last week or so.
Does it? when I go onto Letterboxd at the moment in the activity bit, it's like popular with your friends right now, VelociPastor. I'm like,
That's what
that
makes me
feel
really
warm.
happy. I noticed this last week with American Psycho 2 and this week with VelociPastor. Like,
That's nice.
I haven't got many people who rated this film before. I think Julio was the only person who had seen this podcast before we started it.
Yeah.
And now it's there, and there's so many people I follow on Letterboxd who listen to us, and it's there, and it's just nice to get the word out there a bit for these films.
Oh,
It's like the same
Adam,
with-
you've helped boost the film.
yeah,
I've given it 5 people.
that's nice.
Not
right.
to like name check Julio negatively or anything, but yeah, you're right. His was one of the few reviews that was on there for VelociPastor, and like you said, Paul, I could totally see the whole spectrum of how people respond to it. He didn't respond to it very well. He was like, these sorts of films aren't for me. He didn't even rate it. He was just
Yeah,
like,
but then he still put respect on it.
yeah.
He said, this film isn't for me. I can see what it's trying to do, but yeah.
I think that's the key here, that it's really hard to rate a film like this.
You got to go for this for what it is. Like, I mean, it depends how you rate films anyway, and that's all so fucking subjective. That's why ratings really don't mean anything. But for me, I try and balance it out with like personal enjoyment and also, is it a good film? It's, for me, it works because it is a good film, because it is not trying to be a better film. It's trying to be this film exactly, and it nails it.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I feel sometimes, maybe when you call these podcasts, you feel a bit harsh. Like somebody spent a lot of time making these films, and there's a lot of love that goes into it, and then they put it out in the world and people shit on it. But
Yeah.
like this film, you'd really feel bad to shit on.
If people shit on it, then fine, but it's like, really, what can the criticisms be? The criticisms can only be personal ones, like, I don't like these sorts of films, fine, but I don't think you could say, oh, it was so bad, the acting was bad, the shots were bad. It's like, that's been intentional.
That's the point.
Whether you like it or not is different.
Yeah.
I'll champion this. Like, I could imagine thinking about this for a long, long time.
Can
we just talk
as well.
about how, like, fucking hell, man, you got a priest as the main character, and rather than investing in an actual white dog collar for him to be wearing, you have this shitty piece of white cotton that you've stitched into the neckline of the costume, so it just flaps about. It doesn't even. It looks like a £5 priest fancy dress outfit that they're in. It's like black sheets that is draped over them with a white stitching around the neck.
I just remembered the part where he said, "Have you got anything for me to wear?" and he's wearing a dress.
Oh man, so
He pulls
good.
it off quite well as well.
He does.
Just standing in the forest.
That was so good. So good. And he runs terribly. You know when he goes running out of that
She's
forest and he's
looking at
running
him
down
like,
the street.
"Why is he running like that?"
This is the type of film we should do a commentary for, like we did for Home Alone.
Oh, I'll dig that.
I'd be down for that.
Yeah.
She was also very good. Alyssa Kempinski, she was great. She worked really well opposite him. Like, that's the thing. You could take that role too seriously, or you could be too annoying in that role. Perfect.
Yeah.
Did it perfectly. And that one scene.
And she had a good story arc as well for a film like this.
Yeah, she did. She's fine.
She's fine.
Yeah, I honestly thought he was gonna pass his powers into her, and they had like a baby or something. There's a little fucking
The way
half
she was
human,
the way she was sitting in the end in that gown, I was like, oh, okay, she's pregnant with the raptor baby, and then
Yes.
it just blitzed past that.
I feel like that was a joke as well, because
Yeah.
I was thinking exactly the same thing, like, oh my god, she's going to be pregnant, and then she's like, there's a big build up, and she's like, I'm fine.
she's fine.
It was a lot of heart. They had a lot of fun. Oh, here's something. I don't know. Maybe you would have caught it, Paul, but I think Adam, maybe you would have caught it more. When they go and do the sort of seance scene to get the spirit out of him.
Yeah.
The guy with the pointy ears. You know, when he's chanting, he's just saying band names.
Is he?
Oh, is he?
Yeah, in a really funny voice, he's going, Alice Cooper, Depeche Mode, like Alice Cooper, Depeche Mode. He's just doing loads like that. Oh, man. And also, they pull his eye out and then they put the patch on top of his glasses. This is just funny shit, man.
I didn't even notice that.
It's oh man.
Every
it's
so
a
often,
funny
Ben,
stuff.
you're going to feel unwell or you're going to feel hungover and you're going to look at that VelociPastor.
VelociPastor. That's the sequel.
It's a helicopter. Helicopter dinosaur.
Driven by a Pop-Tart.
If
I'd
this
watch
guy
it.
made it, I'd watch it.
It is that kind of film. I'd chuck on and enjoy.
You're going to feel unwell, you're going to feel hungover, and you're going to need a little thing to lift your spirits and make you feel good. And you're going to see it there, you're going to pick it out.
And this could do it. Like, heartily recommend people who want to have a little bit of a good time and a laugh, check it out. Like, we always knew going into this film you couldn't take it seriously. I was prepared for this podcast to be this is so shit, why do these films get made, blah 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 blah. But I'm so glad. There you go, shows you.
I'm so glad that you guys rated it highly. I was even really worried after Paul gave it a 6 and you said, why did I cheer?
Yes, I thought you.
I thought,
I was throwing you off the scent a little bit.
Very well done. Well played there, Ben.
Well done, everyone. Shall we hear what our listeners had to say?
Yeah, let's
Yes.
do that.
Well, I'll tell you something. I know the first person who had something to say. It's one of our Patreons. It's Nerd Revert.
Oh, it is.
And he said, I remember reading the synopsis and thinking, yes, I do need to see exactly how this plays out. And then afterwards thinking, maybe I didn't need to know after all. Well,
Ooh.
now you do know, and you'll be glad that you watched it because you could understand what the hell we were saying.
Yes. The next up we have our good friend Steve Price. He said this film is called VelociPastor, but he wears the garb and repeatedly refers to himself as a priest. Good point there. Also, his dino form is clearly a T-Rex and not a raptor. Again, yes. I hate this movie. 5 stars.
I love that end.
That's a good
It's
way,
true.
quite way to sum it up.
Oh no, I love it.
Yeah.
But that's
I
how
love
brilliant
to
this
hate
film
it.
is. I hate it. 5 stars. Brilliant.
Yeah.
That would get a quote, Paul, on a poster, wouldn't
That
it?
would definitely, 100%.
I hated this. 5 stars.
Our next review is from Trivia Chic, and they say, as someone that reviews a lot of obscure and bad stuff. Let me say obscure again because it came
I
out
know,
funny.
you said it like a Frenchman.
Obscure.
Mon Dieu.
Monsieur. As someone that reviews a lot of obscure and bad stuff, I really appreciate the amazing schlock of this one, but everyone rolls different. It does the sci-fi creature movie thing, but in a super enjoyable way.
It is.
It is very
Schlock
enjoyable.
Is a good word as well.
I
Schlock should
agree.
be used more.
Schlock.
Well, people, that was the VelociPastor review. Now, shall we get it placed?
Let's place this shit.
Oh,
Let's
wow.
place it in the overall leaderboard. Okay, we took a step away there to see where we were going to place this film. Bizarrely, it is going to be the top of our 7.3s, which means
Wow.
it's better than films like It Chapter 2, The Gentleman, Can You Ever Forgive Me, Dragged Across Concrete, all of that. The Five Bloods even. It's better than all of
me.
that. But
Better than Green Book.
Well, I should hope so. Green Book's down. Yes, good. It is better than Green Book, of course. So it is sitting directly underneath William Friedkin's Sorcerer. So I think that's a pretty good place for it.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it done very well. Now listen, you lot, thanks for listening to us. We're going to keep the conversation going over on our Patreon page. As Adam said, we're going to be discussing some of the wackiest, most extreme films with the lowest budget possible over on there, and which of those are our favourites. But as part of the perk of becoming a Patreon, we give all of our patrons a chance to shout out a film that they've been watching recently that they would like to recommend to you guys. So, Paul, you go first.
Okay, first we have Jamie Russell. He says, I watched Brooklyn last night. Lovely film. Strong performances, beautiful cinematography, and a moving storyline. Highly recommended. Shoot 'em Up is a good laugh too. A very knowing action parody with a good cast and a lethal use of a carrot. I've seen Shoot 'em Up, and very, very tacky.
Yeah, I believe. I think I saw Shoot 'em Up a long time ago and didn't care for it either.
All I remember is there's a woman in it who breastfeeds men in nappies. Or something.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. It's Clive Owen, right?
Yeah, it's Clive Owen. Yeah.
I haven't seen Brooklyn.
No, I
though.
haven't seen Brooklyn either. That's a recent
Yeesh.
release, isn't it?
I've got it on my watch
yeah.
list, I think.
Yeah,
I've
a
A couple of years ago. It's on Netflix at the moment. UK Netflix, I think.
Okay. Next over, we got Katie and Oti again, our friends at For Your Reference. They watched The Housemaid. We watched this film as Bong Joon-ho noted it as the influence to Parasite.
Bong Joon-ho.
Bong Joon. I'll start that again because I fucked that up.
You sound like Spike Lee saying his name at the Oscars. He fucked his name up too.
So next up we've got our friends Katie and Oti up for your reference. They've recommended The Housemaid. We watched this film as Bong Joon-ho noted it.
Please say after me, Bong Joon-ho.
Bong Joon-ho.
Bong Joon-ho.
Ho.
Okay, go. Proceed. Please go.
Next up, we've got our friends Katie and Oti up for your reference. They've recommended The Housemaid. We watched this film as Bong Joon-ho noted it as an influence to Parasite. We're absolutely not prepared for the experience, and this is the best way to watch it.
Right, say that first sentence again without laughing, because they won't know why you're laughing.
They recommended The Housemaid. We watched this film as Bong Joon-ho noted it.
Mate.
Fuck off, man. I'm quitting. I'm not doing this anymore.
Oh, mate, I would tell you to do the next one, but I don't think you'll be able to say Chadwick Boseman either.
Go on,
This is Brian Crescent all over again.
Paul, you work your magic on it.
I've not actually seen The Housemaid. Has anyone else?
I've never even heard of it.
No.
Never heard of it. 1960. I like a good old film, but I haven't seen it. I only know of it because they referenced it in their Parasite episode.
For when they said it, I really thought it was The Handmaiden.
Handmaiden, I know, yeah.
But
Which
then
I get confused between the film The Handmaiden and the television series The Handmaiden.
Yes.
Because there's two,
yes,
right?
Yes.
There's too many maidens out there. Maids and maidens. And the next one up is from Julio, who watched Ma Rainey's Black Bottom a couple of weeks ago. Fantastic final performance from Chadwick Boseman, and the rest of the cast is on fire too. I can't speak to it, but Adam, I know you've seen it. What did you
I've watched
think?
it. It's brilliant. He carries that film with him. It is, I would highly recommend it. It's on Netflix as well, and watch it. And I think we'll discuss more once you guys have watched it. Kind of film.
Is it an Oscar-worthy performance for Chadwick or not?
Yes. I'd say he definitely deserves to be nominated at least for it. I haven't seen enough of the other people to say if he should win, but yeah.
Okay. I'll give that a watch.
And finally, we have Nerd Revert. Recently watched Spiral on Shudder. It's an hour of an absolute mess, followed by a closing 20 minutes of a movie you could actually want to see. Actually, Scott actually saw this film recently. I forgot where he rated it. Also recently watched King of Staten Island, and while it's not an awful movie, it's not great either. Semi-autobiographical look at Pete Davidson's life. Why does Pete Davidson keep coming up?
I know, yeah. It's a Jesus Rolls reference again, mate.
It is. While interesting to a point, unfortunately, it's just pretty not bad at its best. I like that. Pretty not bad.
Pretty not bad. Damning with faint praise. I like it too. The Spiral thing makes me think of the next Jigsaw film that Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson are doing.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I thought he meant at first. I was like, how'd you get to see that?
Just as a shout out to our fellow critic over at Filmbusters, I'm just going to give you what his line for the film was. One sec. The turmoil and difficulty that same-sex couples faced in 1995, as well as different ethnicities, it is difficult not to notice those tones still existing within 2020. It has intelligence, suspense, and a real sense of disturbance. And that was Spiral.
I thought it was a horror movie rather than a social commentary, but there you go.
It's a horror social commentary, apparently.
Anyway, I've added them all to my watch list on Letterboxd. This Patreon corner is going to just populate my watch list on Letterboxd for the foreseeable.
Yeah.
I very much appreciate it. Cheers, patrons. We appreciate you.
Thanking
and
you.
We'll see you over on the Patreon page now. If you guys want to join in the rest of the discussion with us too, you can sign up to be a patron. You know the way to do it. Just go and Google it and you'll find us. But before we go over there, I'm going to tell these two boys what we are going to be watching for the next episode.
Tell us.
We have covered this director in the last few months. We're revisiting this director again.
Okay.
We covered this actor in a film last year too. We're revisiting him again. It's a film that neither of you have seen, if your letterbox is anything to go by.
Oh, I like that.
And I'm very eager to talk about it. The director is William Friedkin. The actor is Michael Shannon. And the film is Bug.
Oh, lovely. I have seen it.
Am I right? Neither
I
of you have seen it?
I've seen it, but a long time
why you
ago.
not got it on your letterbox?
Because I've seen it a long time ago and I can't remember it to actually rate it.
Well, this is why we're here for you now.
Fantastic.
I've never seen it. I've never even heard of it.
You will have to check it out on YouTube to rent. That's the
Okay.
only real way to access it if you don't want to buy it.
Crazy Michael Shannon, just as we like him.
Crazy Michael Shannon with crazy director fucking William Friedkin dealing with crazy subject matter. I think it will provoke very good discussion.
Beautiful.
So there's some homework for the rest of you.
Over to Patreon. See you there, guys.
See you there. Bye-bye.
I'm not coming.
VelociPastor.